Hey, it's Nicole. Welcome back to the Serial Entrepreneur Show. So excited to have you and our guest today, Masha of Masha Ray Portraits out of Florida. Here's the beauty of Masha. There's so many things for sure, but she came as a SmartCookie client, a referral from another SmartCookie. These SmartCookies, they tend to stick together, especially in the portrait photography space. And they really are some of my favorite people. Yeah, Matt too, but these folks are really some of my favorite people. And Masha, I can't wait. I've always wanted to interview her because she was born in Kiev, Ukraine, and her story, I guarantee you, is like nothing we've heard on the show just yet. I am a first-generation American born here in the States. My family comes from all over the world, and I just have a special heart for those that figure this out, even in today's world. And so I'm so excited to welcome my friend, Masha.
Hey, if you're an entrepreneur who usually fast forwards intros just like this one, this is the podcast for you.
Masha, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm super excited.
Hey, just a reminder, our show is brought to you by SmartCookie Media, where we believe data tells a story, and not just any story, your business story. As a subscriber to the show or as a client, you'll get insights on profitable, data-driven marketing strategies that work for you and your business, your industry, not some cookie cutter trends. No, ideas that are led by your customer data so you know they'll work for you. Connect with me on LinkedIn or Instagram to learn more. Everything's in the show notes. Now, let's get back to the show. Masha, finish this sentence. You know you're an entrepreneur when?
You're an entrepreneur when you persevere regardless. When things don't work, but you just keep going.
Persevere regardless.
Regardless, yes.
Yeah, no matter what. It sounds like there's a story there. Is there a recent time that you just had to keep going no matter what?
I think there is always something that you keep going forward. You know, when you have the vision, you want to achieve certain things, and there is always bumps on the road. And sometimes those bumps feel that, it's hard to continue, but you still continue. And when you continue, the results are really great.
Yeah.
Was there a specific bump in the road, Masha, that you recall where it impacted your business?
You know, I have a few. My main one, I think, when I was just starting out, because when I moved out to United States, it was pretty new country to me, and starting a business in the environment that I completely unfamiliar with. And that was my first business ever. It was hard because first I did not know the culture, not the tradition, but the things that you're supposed to acknowledge or overcome. And I think the main bump was overcoming the acceptance, because I was in California studying my business. And when I did wedding photography, it was so overflooded with wedding photographers. And it was a huge market, and I was coming in inexperienced. So trying your best to get in and to be accepted behind that curtain that the vendors already know each other, that was the hardest part.
Was it more difficult based upon you being essentially an immigrant and coming into our country and trying to fit into that culture as well? Was there a challenge there with that?
No, I don't think so. I really think everyone accepts, immigrant or not native as is. I think the hardest part for me was to prove that I'm good enough to be in that market, that vendors could trust me, that my service was worth enough. And when you are new, it takes time for people to first get to know you, to build that trust, and to start referring. So I think understanding that and going through that, going over that was kind of the difficult part in the beginning.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I think about like the brides in general. The wedding industry is, I would feel, high stakes, high stress. It's one day, it's one moment, it's one time she's going to walk down that aisle. Maybe she'll be back again another time, but like for that day, it's only that one time, right? Like everything has to be as perfect as possible. So I'm sure that that's really, really
True. Yeah.
So help me understand then, Masha, where you're at today now. What is it you own? What is it you do?
So after running my successful wedding photography business in California, we moved to Florida 5 years ago. And there was a certain point in my life where wedding photography was not bringing me that, I would say, that joy that I felt fulfilled. So I switched my genre to portraits. I started focusing mainly on photographing women and branding and headshots for entrepreneurs. When I started photography for women, it was a little bit of glamour, but then we started doing this project that is called the 40 over 40, where we photographed the women who are over 40. And it had the meaning of helping them overcome aging and showing them that beauty that a lot of them already forgotten from within. So when we would do the photo shoots and seeing these women come in for the first time as very shy, insecure, and then leaving like I can conquer the world. That was the whole joy for me. And then that led to also doing a lot of branding photography because a lot of women that I photographed are entrepreneurs. So it kind of combined together.
I love it. Yeah. I love having someone on the show that is an entrepreneur that's supporting other entrepreneurs. I think it's